500 officers of SEBI have written a letter to the government of India saying that they cannot work in SEBI anymore under her leadership because the work environment is very toxic, abusive, and there is fear everywhere. The same ICICI bank did for a very similar executive at a senior position, very senior position, and both were in some sense peers, colleagues, Ms. Madhabi Buch and Chanda Kochar. Why were there two different treatments? On the 2nd of September, my colleague, Mr. Pavan Khera, had a press conference where he had some documentary evidence, and he said that documents show that Ms. Madhabi Puri Buch has earned income, or I think he used the word salary, but earned income from two places when she was still the chairperson of SEBI. Now the response came. This time the response came from ICICI Bank, because the allegation was that she earned income from ICICI while as chairperson of SEBI. Now, ICICI is only indirectly implicated in this allegation. The primary person who's been accused in this allegation is Ms. Buch. But the primary person never responded. The company that is indirect, implicitly accused, responded. And the response was, these are stock options. Or somebody said, these are retirals. This is not salary. This is wealth. All these different terms were used. You know, you remember Mr. Vinod Rai, famously, for notional loss theory. He would have called this notional income. Whether it is stock options or retirals or dividends, it is income. This was from ICICI. What was the allegation? Even if it was stock option, she's earning income from ICICI stock. Who is regulating ICICI stock? Ms. Madhabi Puri Buch. Is there a conflict or not? I'm earning income. Yes, I may have been given stock options much before, but my income depends on the stock price. Who is regulating the stock price? Me. Is that a conflict or not? There was a very clear conflict. Now, if there was a conflict, was this disclosed? Why was this conflict not resolved before she became chairperson? These are the questions to ask, not hide behind whether this is stock option or retirals or all these things. But I want to ask one question about that. Why did ICICI respond? I'll give you another similar example. There was a lady, senior lady executive, very senior executive of ICICI Bank, Ms. Chanda Kochar. There was an allegation against her. She was actually the CEO of ICICI Bank at that time. What was done at that time? She stepped aside. The board of ICICI constituted a committee under a former Supreme Court judge, and they did an inquiry. And that inquiry said, yes, she is culpable, and hence she resigned. This is what the same ICICI Bank did for a very similar executive at a senior position, very senior position, and both were in some sense peers, colleagues, Ms. Madhabi Buch and Chanda Kochar. Why were there two different treatments? Why did ICICI Bank come out and defend, saying there is no issue? Whereas they did not do that for Ms. Chanda Kochar, which was the right thing to do, set up an independent inquiry. So on the 3rd of September, my colleague again responded to ICICI Bank with more documents, with more details. And he also said, we have further evidence, further documents. Now, on the 4th of September, there's a news article that said 500 officers of SEBI have written a letter to the government of India saying that they cannot work in SEBI anymore under her leadership because the work environment is very toxic, abusive, and there is fear everywhere. This is under Ms. Madhabi Puri Buch's leadership, and 500 officers of SEBI have written this letter. These are not junior officers. This is not an unknown entity. This is a very important entity, SEBI. I am not saying they are right or wrong, but what was the response? SEBI responded today saying these 500 officers are being incited by some external forces, by some outside forces. If 500 SEBI officers, you think, can be motivated by outside forces to complain, should they be officers in the first place? What are you saying? Are you demeaning your own officers, your own staff? Is this the status of SEBI today? The country's most important regulator.